welcome to the M2 podcast. This is episode 3 of season 3 now.
Yeah.
And this is the show where we basically cover week review of any esports personalities, some technology and innovation, gaming industry related news, and new and upcoming games. I'm your host, Mad Mike, and my co-host is Mr. KyleHeath.
Hello.
And Kyle, what do you got for us today?
Well, I just realized I didn't have the other scene on, but that's fine because we're diving right in. First article I got this week is in regards to the Stream Deck pedal that Elgato just launched. Piece of hardware essentially is a foot pedal with 3 different buttons on it that allow you to control anything this Stream Deck can control itself. And this launches at a price tag of $89.99. It's definitely a premium product, a premium stream pedal. It is called the Stream Deck pedal, but there's obviously many more applications this has than just live streaming. They even go into detail in some of the blog posts they have about using it for video editing or any sort of content creation, or just having a macro pedal in general is nice for just everyday tasks on a computer in certain aspects. So they just announced this, but along with this, they're also adding an official Discord plugin for the Stream Deck, which is something fans who have owned Stream Decks for a while have been asking for. Up until now, it's really just been using a hotkey to mute and unmute your Discord or deafen or whatever you're trying to do. And it was essentially just a toggle. And now it is a single button that is natively integrated with Discord, so you don't have to worry about hotkeys or anything. It is just embedded on the Stream Deck and ready to go. Pretty interesting stuff. I've had a Stream Deck now myself for a few years, so it is great to see that feature. But the Stream Deck pedal is also very interesting, I think, in its own right. What are your thoughts on something like this, Mike? Do you think you would use a Stream Deck pedal?
Personally, me, no, I wouldn't use it. I mean, I'm not a professional streamer like that, and I have hotkeys on my keyboard that I'm just so used to and accustomed to. But don't get me wrong, it definitely makes everything easier. Just for my personal setup and system that I use is I wouldn't really use it.
Yeah.
But what about you?
Personally for me, I think this is a product that kind of, I really like the idea of this, and I even thought about this at one point about just getting like a standard, just I guess foot pedal in general that's like $20 on Amazon, because I believe there are USB ones you can hook up to your PC and use it in a similar fashion. This obviously has 3 more buttons, so it's a little more versatile. There's more stuff you can do with it, but I don't know. This is very interesting to me. It's something I may consider at some point myself, just to have the ability to, especially when you're live streaming, having to sit there and game and then reach over and press a button. If you're on keyboard and mouse, isn't so bad, but if you're on controller, especially having to reach from under the desk and then click a button and then put back, it's kind of a hassle, especially if you have to do it a lot. So having a pedal is certainly going to be more convenient for stuff like that. And I think streamers, especially console streamers, will get a lot of use out of it.
I didn't really think about that aspect of it. It is a total pain in the butt when you're trying to do something on your OBS or even Discord, muting back and forth, and you have to put down the controller.
Yeah.
I know a couple of my clips when I get stuff on PC and I'm using a controller for whatever reason, I have to do, I think I had the Windows game bar is the easiest one that I have. So I'm over here I think the shortcut is Windows key Alt G, and then it clips the last 30 to a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can do Windows G and then grab your mouse real quick and try to select it while your controller sitting in your lap. So this actually is a pretty good idea. But I know you were most excited about the actual plugin that goes for Discord.
Yeah. I think, and the reason I think I am so excited about it is, one, like I mentioned, I have a Stream Deck, so this is instantly usable for me, and I don't have to worry about buying a product.
Yeah.
But I think it affects a wider audience because more people have the Stream Deck than, of course, this pedal. Or maybe any sort of foot pedal. They already have that hardware, so just integrating this, it's completely free plugin that you just download, and I even set it up today on my Stream Deck, and I have the different mutes and the deafens, and it also gives you the option, as you can see, to either join voice channels or switch to specific text channels at just the click of a button. That's also really cool. I don't know how much use I'll personally get out of that, But it is nice just to be able to click a button, not even have to go to the Discord page, and it just joins the channel. And leaving again is the same thing. You just click the button, it exits out, and you don't have to worry about mousing over or tabbing out to leave a Discord. So pretty cool stuff there. There's also push to talk functionality as well as a push and hold to mute. So if you have to it's like almost a cough button in a sense. So you don't have to flood your teammates' ears with coughing and
Oh,
sneezing. You can just hold it and then let go, and you don't have to worry about unmuting or wondering if you did unmute, that type of thing.
do they have any? Well, the plugin is absolutely great. My
hmm
question is does it have to? Do you have to use the Stream Deck the whole time, the Elgato official Stream Deck, or can you use any other type of device?
As far as I know, this is a native app that is only built for Stream Deck. So there are competitors to the Stream Deck. I have seen software wise, I don't know how good they are. I mean, I haven't
Yeah.
been following them closely, considering. I mean, I think the Stream Deck's a wonderful piece of hardware. It's just a macro board essentially, but it really bumps the convenience factor. I think of anyone stream up if they decide to get one. So this is, as far as I know, though, only compatible with the Elgato Stream Deck.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good opportunity for really like entertaining based streamers.
Yeah,
So like people that just really want to put on a show, like and you're only a one man crew and you don't have an extra hand.
right.
I think this definitely has some of its uses.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
so they announced it and it's already available immediately. You don't have to wait for it.
yeah. Typically, that's one thing I always love about Elgato is when they announce something, it's same day, it's out. Like that's generally they don't wait.
That's
Um,
that's pretty convenient.
Yeah, I mean that's their whole marketing is when they announce a new product, it's available that day. And they also have embargoes with all like the popular tech YouTubers. So they'll all get their
Mhm.
hands on it a week early, get time to test it, and then all the videos for the product post the same day it launches. So you can go see a video and then there's links in the descriptions right to the page where you can buy it. That's just
That's Yep. Okay,
it's
that makes sense.
that's how you do it. It's yeah, it's really they plan that stuff very thoroughly and it's you can tell. Um yeah, so it's available today for $89.99 for the hardware pedal. I think the regular Stream Deck it was 150 at one point. It might still be. You can also find it at multiple times throughout the year at a discount. I think I got mine at like 100. I was like $50 off. There's also a smaller. I have the 15 key Stream Deck. There's also a smaller 6 key Stream Deck. I believe that's like 80. Don't quote me on that. But there's also a Stream Deck XL that's I think 30 keys on one panel.
Oh
That
my
it's like
gosh.
$250 for that thing. It's a big boy. Um, but I mean, I think well, not necessarily convenience, but I think one of the coolest features of the Stream Deck is the fact that they have multi-action functions. So again, like you were saying, for content creators that really go all out with their content and want to do multiple different scenes and transitions, multi-action makes that possible without having to click 50 buttons. You can click just one button and then it'll execute, I think, up to like 10 or 15 actions subsequently after you click it. So it's great for the content creator that is looking to do some extravagant production.
Yeah, I can think of a couple of people that I've seen that are just at least in the Halo like Twitch channel category. I know a couple of people that go head and shoulders above everybody else with their transitions.
Yeah.
They're like sometimes too much, but I could see them just like acting like it's a double bass pedal on a drum set, like going back and forth.
Yeah. I also saw a couple of creators. They made videos on the product. They were talking about what kind of comes in the box, and they include springs as well. And what's nice about this is you can screw off the back panel, the back metal panel, and if you screw that off, you can adjust the tension of each pedal. So say you feel like it's too light, you can add specific springs, and that'll tighten it up. So if you want to like rest your foot on it but not necessarily touch it, you can adjust that tension to make it tight. So you have to put more pressure on the button to press it, which is really good, I think, for like heavier feet. Um,
Yeah,
so
definitely.
they really, I could tell they really took some time and thought this through and have most of the use cases hammered out, but depending
I'm
on type
curious.
of person.
Did they mention what it's made out of? If it's like some
It
type of
is.
polymer or metal.
I don't. Not that I saw. I would assume it's probably some type of plastic polymer. I know the mat again, like I said, the metal. There is a metal backplate on it to support it, but I believe it's a plastic of some sort.
Yeah, I mean, Elgato for the last couple of years seems to be pushing into every bit of hardware.
Yeah.
Like in that picture alone, I think so they got an Elgato mic as well.
Oh, yeah. It's
That looks like an Elgato mic.
the Wave
Yeah.
3, I think it's called.
Yeah, probably and Elgato now has the ring lights.
Yeah, they the
Have
ring
the capture cards,
lights.
of course.
Yeah, square lights. Their capture cards is kind of what got them on the map, really. Also attached to this mic, I believe this is the multi mount, or I know it's certainly the arm that they have. But they also have they have some pretty cool gadgets like the multi mount that you can put into the wall, and it has different pieces, so you can really customize the length and how you want either your camera or your mic that's hanging from the wall to point and interact. Um, it's Elgato. I think I it's you can interpret this good or bad, but I think Elgato is certainly like the Apple of streaming products right now. Um, and it's kind of just like they have they always come out with really good quality products. I don't think most of them are overpriced necessarily. Some people might, but they certainly have they're certainly dominating the streamer market right now. There's not too much else competing. Maybe like
Yeah.
AverMedia and a couple others, but they're certainly the biggest.
Yeah, I mean, there's I've never used an Elgato product before. All I did when I bought my capture card was do like a side by side comparison of one, obviously the price point, but the other one was just like hardware and like capabilities of the device. And Elgato was kind of lacking a little bit in comparison to the equivalent AverMedia. And
Mhm,
this is the 4K 60p one that I'm talking about.
mhm.
But the problem was is AverMedia cost more.
Yeah,
So I got it on a deal, which made it basically a bargain. So I think Elgato is probably reasonably priced, but
yeah,
their marketing is obviously good, like you said with the content creators.
mhm,
That's just give them free devices and probably do some type of payment,
yeah,
and then that's free advertisement for like ever,
yeah. I mean,
like just as long as the video's up.
right. I mean, they know the modern day market well, which is why I think they've succeeded as well as they
Yeah,
have, especially in the streamer space. You know, because it's all the internet.
yeah. They seem pretty active on socials too, so
Yeah,
they know what they're doing.
yeah. I've also heard too that I guess their creator correspondent that oftentimes goes out and talks with the creators and actually gets feedback. I hear they actually have someone really good working there that actually cares and really puts in work with you know taking time with creators and really taking in feedback. So they know what they're doing. That is for sure.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah, that is pretty much it for the Stream Deck. Next story we have is going to be about Lucas Lucasfilm Games putting out an announcement this week that there are 3 new Star Wars titles in the works with Respawn Entertainment. This is coming from Andrew Webster at The Verge, where I got this article. The studio will be making, I guess, an untitled Star Wars first-person shooter. It's partnering with Bit Reactor, which has some former devs from the XCOM studios, to work on a strategy game, Star Wars strategy game, and then they are, I think it's a Star Wars strategy game, the FPS game, and there was a third title, they're also working on. And there's really no info on these games other than they're just being worked on, but they just certainly didn't go into much detail in the articles. They just said they're coming, so should be pretty
They
interesting.
always they always do say that. So Respawn, Ubisoft. Is it Ubisoft or Ubisoft? I've heard two people pronounce it,
Yeah,
or like two different ways of pronouncing it.
I've heard Ubisoft. I mean, that's the way I say it.
Yeah,
I've heard
that's the
both,
way
but
I've said it. Yeah,
Ubisoft is the way I've always said it. Um,
yeah. I think
yeah,
it's I mean, it has a lot of potential. I mean, if it's Respawn, right, you would think it's gonna be first person shooter.
Yeah,
Um, but how would that work if everybody wants to be a Jedi or Sith?
it's true. I'm very
Uh,
curious to see how they're gonna play that. Um, the third game, it just came to me. The third game was actually a sequel to Fallen Order, very successful
oh,
2019 story game that they came out with, and it kind of that game almost came out after. Well, it did come out after the whole loot box scenario with Battlefront. And
yeah.
I think everyone was like, they're just in it for the money, and so they decided. I think originally they thought single player wouldn't work, and then they put out that game, and it proved that it worked. So, they're doing a sequel to that as well.
Nice. I love story-driven content like that.
Yeah,
We're missing that in a lot of good games. I
right.
think with Star Wars, I mean, I th the last time I was, like, truly excited for a new Star Wars game, and thankfully Electronic Arts isn't making them anymore, but when EA did buy them, I mean, hindsight 2020 is what I mean. When they did buy them, I was super excited about, Battlefront 1 and 2.
Hmm.
I thought it was gonna be a sequel very similar to the original Battlefront 2, which I got actually somewhere down here. Yeah. It's literally
Wow.
on the shelf over here behind me.
Nice.
And I love that game. And I was hoping for the same exact thing, but I don't know what happened. I think it was like a a quality issue, like they're trying to make everything look amazing, but they didn't really concentrate on the content itself. So hopefully we get some type of like big battle, like galactic war going on. I'd be down for that.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, Fallen Order was a great game. I played it last year, for the first time, and I didn't know if I was going to be a fan of like the Souls esque style of game, like Dark Souls, because that game is very much in that vein. But it was still fun. I enjoyed it. I even played it on a harder difficulty, which I regretted like immensely, especially like only a few hours in, but still a great game, and I really am looking forward to the second one. Um, there is the article on The Verge does go on to describe there are currently two other Star Wars titles that are actually in development with different studios right now. So although they are coming back to Respawn to develop these three titles, there is a current Ubisoft Star Wars game that was announced early last year that is going to be open world. We don't have, again, hardly any details on that. Sounds super exciting. I'm really curious to see what they're going to do with that. There's also Quantic Dream. Quantic Dream is coming out with a story. As far as I'm aware, it's an action adventure story based style Star Wars game. Star Wars Eclipse, I think it's called. It's actually links to the article. Yeah, Star Wars Eclipse. It is made by the same people that made Heavy Rain and Detroit Become Human, which are type of story games that I love. And so they're
Yeah.
making that as well.
Yeah, that should be good. Says it's set in the High Republic era,
Um,
hundreds of years before the Skywalker saga.
yeah, the
That's
golden age of the Jedi Order and Republic.
Man, I gotta tell you, I love it when so like the Star Wars universe has so much like lore behind it. So like I'm not too in depth with like the Star Wars fandom when it goes like that far deep into the lore. But what's cool about it is, and what I know about it, is that the fans created most of the lore. And having games that actually delve into that, where it's not really put in this box of what it has to be because of like the movies. It can just be in the universe and everybody can just kind of accept, okay, this is a new story. Like take it how it is.
Mhm.
So I'm
Yeah,
pretty excited for that.
yeah. I think this time period for a Star Wars game is going to be very interesting, especially in Quantic Dreams style of games. So
Yes.
very excited for that. But I'm also just excited for the sequel to Fallen Order. I think it's going to be good. I'm curious to see where they're going to take that story. So big, big things if you're a Star Wars fan coming out. There's I think some really good titles on the horizon, which I know for a long time, Star Wars, especially in the gaming sense, there really wasn't much going on, and if it was not the best. But we've got some good ones coming up.
Crossing fingers at least.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
So for
seriously.
the best. I mean, a follow up to Fallen Order is gonna that should be good.
Yeah, I
I
think
mean,
that's
I
a home
I
run.
never I never played Fallen Order. Fallen Order was one of those games that I actually just watched playthroughs for,
Hmm.
like those hour-long playthroughs. I watch
Right.
those, and I like watching people play games. So
Hmm.
the that entire story mode was amazing. I kind of want to go into depth about it, but I feel like it might spoil it for people. Just know that they have to go play it or watch it because the ending is nuts.
Yeah.
the
Yeah, and I don't know, most games are like that for me too, I think. A good example of that for me was was Death Stranding, the Hideo Kojima game that came out 2019, I think.
yeah,
That game, when that game came out, I had no interest in playing it, but I remember I was at one of my buddies' houses and we were watching streams. I think we were watching Lyric play it because he played it like the day it came out. And so we were just sitting on the couch. We spent like 3 hours watching it. And we were like, this shouldn't be entertaining, but it somehow is. And so it's like, I could
yeah.
never play this, but I'll watch it all day. It's, yeah, so I
I think
understand
I
that.
I think I watched XQC do the entire like 18-hour run through of The Last of Us Part 2 or The Last of Us 2.
Oh,
That guy's a
insane.
lunatic, but it was entertaining. That
Yeah.
entire game was amazing.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, that game got a lot of heat, but let me tell you, man, it's
Yeah,
in
whatever.
form of like art and just storytelling. I think
Yeah,
maybe the last like quarter, not so much, but like I think everything else, it's just still like it's beautiful to watch, and so that was enough for me. I think.
it's an adventure.
Yeah,
That's what it's about, man.
yeah,
When you play games for the story, it's about the adventure.
yeah, for sure. And sometimes playing games take on a bigger role than themselves. I think, and that goes on kind of into our next story. There's some doctors, some scientists out of England. This is coming from Sky News. They're creating video games that will help diagnose, monitor, and treat depression. Um, it's supposed to be used, I guess, alongside, I guess, cognitive treatment. Very interesting stuff. It's called Thymia, and it's the first system that offers objectivity and uses several types of data in order to create a really accurate and robust model of depression. While playing the games, the software analyzes the patient's voice, eye gaze, and micro expressions, as well as behavioral measures, including reaction times, memory, and error rates. Through this, patterns indicative of depression are picked up on, allowing a diagnosis to be made quickly. The program will essentially does this through asking the patient to play simple video games, and then it has a neuropsychological underpinning, and ultimately it's designed to help measure depressive cues in players. So, what do you think about something like this, Mike? Do you think this is a? I thought this was pretty interesting.
I think it's brilliant, man, because so like I think video games ever since the 90s has a really negative connotation about mental health in particular. So like any type of like depression or something like that or makes kids violent, you know those stereotypes that you always hear in like where it gets politicized.
Yep.
This looks like a positive way of looking at video games now that's more of mainstream. I mean, this is on Sky.
Hmm.
So Sky News is a pretty big deal that it's on Sky. The next bit of it is I think I watched a Netflix series or it wasn't Netflix. I'm confusing it with TED Talks. There was a psychologist that did an entire hour-long TED Talk about how video games are actually good for your mental health. And it actually improves people's like I'm not gonna say it got rid of their depression, but it definitely like soothed it or mitigated it is probably the better term to use. And about how like video games in general, you get dopamine and you get like a feeling of gratitude and like um what's it called? Accomplishment when you achieve goals that are really difficult in games.
Yeah.
So I think this is pretty smart about you're basically like quantifying it, right? With this new technology that they're calling is Theum? What'd you say it was?
It was, I guess,
Themia.
Thymia. Yeah,
Themia? I
Thymia.
don't know.
I don't know what it's called. I
I
just
didn't
work
go to
here.
school for
I just work
English.
here. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but they're quantifying it, right? So you're trying to
Hmm.
figure out. Um, I wonder how much it can actually cover when it's finished. So if you can get like response times and like see the mental of like the gamer, and I could see like organizations, especially like esports, utilizing something like this. with their
Yeah.
players.
Yeah.
Like during or after games, just like before a game comes up, it's like, hey man, you're like your mental right now is impacting your game performance. Like take a break.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Yeah.
I think there's certainly other, I mean, obviously this is going to be used hopefully a lot in like the medical field, but yeah, there's other industries that could definitely, especially esports, that could really, take advantage of this. And article also describes that the reason they're developing the system, I guess one of the major reasons is just the existing system is flawed in many ways. Um, GPs don't have time. Existing systems are, if you're giving like a subjective questionnaire to fill out, it's oftentimes not the most accurate way of determining how
Oh yeah.
how someone's mental health actually is. So these games are developed using AI as well. So as you play and as it I guess as it comes more attuned to the patient, it'll know what to look for and adjust. So I mean, I think overall this is very interesting, and I'm going to be really curious to hear more about it. I guess if it actually breaks into mainstream and in other countries, it'll be interesting to follow.
I mean, it's a good idea. I think so games in general, right, are becoming more and more accepted. At least the last like what 5 6 years. When Fortnite came out, everybody was playing Fortnite, and all of a sudden, gaming's cool. Everybody wants to be a YouTuber and streamer. So I think this actually would work with our generation's like mental health as like as things like progress in the future. People need to deal with things. It's like it might be a good little transition for some doctors to be like, hey, like play this game and like we'll analyze the way you're feeling and try to understand it better and how to help people. I
Yeah,
think it has a lot of opportunity.
yeah. I mean,
I'm so pro video games.
I yeah, I am too. Cause like you said, I definitely think it just has so many benefits, and I mean, it's very engaging for the brain in general. A lot
Mhm.
more so than sitting down and watching a show or anything. Ability, I think
Absolutely.
it trains you not only with reaction time, especially if you're playing like an FPS or any type of shooter. It really helps you think about things, especially if you play like competitively. It really like your
Yeah.
decision making is you're really flexing those skills, and it'll translate to other aspects of life that will be very beneficial, is my opinion. So something like this and I guess to talk about this a little more, there was I know the article also mentioned it's going to be a great supplement to say like speech therapy. If someone's going and talking to a therapist, maybe like between sessions, um, it can help. It can help the therapist know if the treatment plan they're going with is actually working or if they need to make adjustments, and it'll be able to. I think ultimately it'll make those decisions quicker and more efficient, and it'll make treatment a lot more effective in the long run. So very, very interesting stuff.
Yeah, it's a good thought.
Um, but yeah, I mean, gaming. So what do we get from this, Mike? I think gaming is good. Huh? That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
I mean, well, this is a gaming podcast, so we are kind of biased, aren't we?
Yeah, maybe.
Um, yeah. So apparently, it's the patient's voice, eye gaze, and micro expressions,
Yeah, yeah.
and
So
behavioral measures, including reaction times, memory, and error rates. Should
yeah, there's a little picture here you can see. There's a camera and mic that
tablet.
yeah, it's on a tablet, and of course the camera's on the tablet, looking at the patient, and also a mic as well. That'll be kind of listening and watching as you play. Um, and I'm assuming it's gonna be. I feel like some of them would be kind of like, what's there was a brain trainer game back then. I forget what it was called, but it was
I
like
know what you're talking
it was
about.
little games that you would play that was supposed to help train your brain and kind of help
Yeah,
you heal.
memory.
Yeah,
Yeah, memory, reaction time, and a couple other things.
yeah. I
Ye
forget what it's
The
called.
advertisements took over YouTube for, like, months. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but I feel like this may be kind of in a similar vein in terms of seeing what the brain's capable of. Um, yeah, I think that is that is pretty much it. The next article I had was about SypherPK. Do you watch SypherPK at all, Mike?
I do not, but I've heard tons of good things about him. I think I actually covered him briefly a couple of years ago about, I think his breakout. Did he either switch he might have switched to YouTube, right?
Um, he
Full
did
time, and he's
he did not switch to YouTube. He's still on Twitch, as far as I
okay.
know. Um,
Okay, then I'm confusing him with somebody else. But what I do know is he's basically a variety streamer, very popular.
yeah, he did variety for a time. I think he really blew up off Fortnite. That was like his bread and butter for a while. Before that, he played RuneScape and he streamed RuneScape. I didn't watch him for
Oh.
that era, but he had a long his SypherPK. Apparently, the PK in his name was Player Killer. So because he couldn't get Cypher, and so like in RuneScape, he's Cypher the Player Killer. And then he went from RuneScape. I think he may have done a little bit of competitive in RuneScape if that was a thing back then, but he did that. He moved on to For Honor and did that competitively. Which that was like a weird game to watch competitively, I thought. But he did that, and then after that he had the Fortnite era, and then that's where he took off, and now he's one of the top creators. And now he does like Warzone and other games and Apex, and he's a little more variety now, like you were saying. But yeah, he's a pretty interesting dude.
He sounds like he's out to good things. What's he
Yeah.
up to now?
So he announced. It's a good question. He announced he put out a YouTube video. I guess yesterday, at the time recording this, so Tuesday the 25th. Talking about a new studio he's launching called Oni Studios, and I'm playing the video right now for people watching. Essentially, the idea of this studio is it is a creative space for small creators to join, and they will have a whole team of editors and just general business people that will help these small creators not only with their content, but also from a business aspect of how to grow efficiently in the industry, how to navigate sponsorships and um, pretty much everything that is entailed whenever you start gaining some clout on the web.
Yeah.
Um, so that's the idea. It's not supposed to be something like, say, I'm getting an ad. It's not supposed to be something like 100 Thieves, or it's not like an org by any means. But it is essentially just a content hub that creators can go to.
So he's providing the editors for the studio, and it's a collaboration effort. Is it kind of like a WeWork spot?
I
You know what I'm
don't,
talking about?
I don't think I do.
So, I think they're called WeWorks, or they're basically a big tenant space that has multiple different offices, and it's like a small business or somebody that's like a content creator or like a one or two, three-man shop just all goes into one place and they get like a table or office instead of having to rent or lease an entire space. They
Mm,
share it with like 10, I don't even know how many people, like 10 different
yeah,
businesses, you know?
right. I know what you're talking about. It's kind of like individual office space. I think
Yeah.
that is the idea. So with opening the studios, he I think when I saw an article, he ended up purchasing a 30,000 square foot warehouse, I think. And I think that's part of the
Jesus.
that's that is part of the idea. Is I think he wants to bring in these content creators like on the ground and really give them kind of, I guess, an office space of sense, and maybe kind of work with them. Um, but yeah, and from what he said in the video, no, that they're gonna have a whole team of pretty much everybody from editors to business people and pretty much everyone that's willing to help with content creation. I don't know. It sounds very interesting. I think personally for me, I think the idea of like starting off as a small creator and kind of learning as you go is very exciting.
Yeah.
And I almost worry that something like this is going to kind of strip some of that away from a smaller creator, and maybe they either will find out quickly they're not interested in something like this, or they'll maybe even find out faster and then grow and prosper. I guess it's hard to tell, but I don't know. I'm not gonna say I'm hesitant about something like this, but I'm gonna be following it closely because I really want to see how creators do that end up working with this studio space.
Yeah, it sounds I mean, the studio looks pretty cool from what they're showing right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I mean, I'm just thinking from like it sounds like it could be an HR nightmare,
Seriously, I
you know?
don't know
It,
how they're gonna do that.
it, unless they're doing like a LAN center kind of deal where everybody has their own streaming rig. You know what I mean? That's something different. But from what you've described, it seems more like, hey, we have editors, we have a team here, you can utilize them. Just come here and use our stuff.
Yeah.
So what's the split? You know what I mean? Like, what's the catch?
That's the thing. I mean, there's got to
That's
be
what I
some
want to know.
split. I mean, there's got to be something,
It's
right?
got to be.
How
Yeah.
much you paying for something like this is the real question. Because I'm assuming if you're a smaller creator, you have to pay at some point.
Well, there's probably one of two ways that I would go about it if I was him. The first thing I would do is say, like, if you're a small creator and you don't have the money to pay me, don't worry about it. We just get a percentage of like whatever, like ownership rights, you know,
Yeah.
which is like could be incredibly costly, but you could also find out whether or not you want to do it right off the bat. And then the
Yeah.
second one's just like you're already relatively established, you have a small to decent following, and you just need that extra little push because let's say you're just not good enough when it comes to like editing and producing, but you're just like a heck of a good content creator, you know?
Hmm.
I could see that being a good idea. Um, where's the warehouse located? I
Uh,
shouldn't call it a warehouse, but
yeah.
the
So
warehouse.
they bought the space in Austin, Texas. So
Everybody's moving to Texas.
yeah, I heard it was in Austin, and I was like, yeah, that's right. Like
Of
it's
course it
like
is.
everybody like yeah, Texas has become the new California for content creators. I swear.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I mean I think a big motivator is the no state tax. That's probably the biggest motivation. But yeah, everyone's going to Texas,
Yeah.
man. There's other
That
states
and
though.
high speed internet,
Yeah,
from what I hear.
yeah, oh yeah. There's other states though, you know. Sure, Florida's nice. Maybe even Tennessee. I
Yeah,
don't think there's any income
Florida's
tax.
one. New Hampshire, no income tax.
Hmm. Yeah.
The property tax makes up for it though. Uh, I mean, you can North Carolina though.
True, man.
The
Like
Carolinas, it's cheap out here, man.
it really
It,
is. I
it
can
is
attest.
cheap. It is super
It
cheap.
is really cheap, man. It's a good place. I
Yep.
mean, hey, I have fiber and I live in the middle of nowhere, so you know,
Yeah.
it's getting out there. It's getting around.
Yeah. I
Uh,
have fiber and I live in a major city.
uh,
But I got options. I got options. A lot of people don't have options.
yeah,
Hopefully in Texas people do.
yeah.
So
Anyways,
what do you
Oni
think? I mean I'm sure he has good intentions. I'm just thinking
Yeah, yeah, definitely. There's a point in the video where he's talking with his wife right here. His wife's the CEO of the company, I believe he says in the video. She actually helped him with his early content creation. I didn't know this. She edited. He even describes it. She edited one of the most popular Fortnite videos that kind of like blew up whenever he was first posting Fortnite content. So she really kind of helped him from build that channel. So she
that's
has
awesome.
yeah. So she has. I'm sure she has a good idea of how to run things and really grow on a YouTube perspective. Um, I don't know. It's again, I'm very curious to see how this is going to go and what they're going to really do with creators, and I'm hoping the best because I mean, I think Cypher overall, like from what I've seen, he's a really smart businessman. And he's really taken YouTube and he is like seriously milked YouTube. Like we're talking, like Mike, we're talking. I think there's like 3 channels. This man, 3 or 4 that he has,
That's how you got to do it.
2 or 3, at least 2 or 3 of them he's uploading daily. Not even kidding. Like he has like a
That's
shorts
crazy.
channel, his regular channel he uploads daily. I'm pretty sure his second channel he uploads daily, I think. And it's like and each video gets, I mean, it's unreal. I don't even know if I can view it right now. I mean, yeah. So, I mean, you can see like each of his videos, 1,000,000 views easily every day. Like he's getting, and these are daily uploads. And then he has more SypherPK, which I think does pretty similar. Okay, not nearly as much, but still,
About
like,
half.
yeah,
But
about
that's still a
half.
lot.
I mean,
That's
daily
so
uploads
much.
too. It's
I mean,
crazy.
26,000 views in less than an hour. That I
Yeah.
mean, come on.
And then, yeah, never mind. He has 5 channels. His main channel, second channel, Cypher Reacts, where he just does reaction content, his shorts channel, and then Cypher Plays. And then he has a
All
channel for
right.
his dogs.
How
I don't
much
even know if he
streaming
uploads.
does this man do?
I, he
I need to
he
know.
he streams pretty
I'm going to
often.
Twitch tracker.
I'll tell you right now, most of his content on his YouTube channel is just ripped from his streams. And like he'll make,
That's why I'm asking
and the
because
thing
he
is,
has to do
I
that.
mean, yeah, he has to, and he also just makes videos on stream, which is smart. Like just
He's
making,
live right now.
yeah, I mean, just making the content while you're live. It's a way to go. I mean, look at this.
I
At
mean,
least,
yeah, you have to do that.
I mean, his Reacts channel where he's just reacting to stuff on stream. That's still like at least a couple videos a week,
Yeah, quarter
and
mil every
1 mil, and
vid.
then Cypher Plays. I mean, his first channel has like 5.5 million subs. Second has 1.5 million, and I mean, he hasn't uploaded nearly anything on the Cypher Plays channel recently.
All
But
right, so
yeah,
for this month, he's at 208 hours streamed.
I mean, it's just unreal, man. This is a
So he streams Monday through Friday.
yeah, I mean, and he has a I think he has a schedule too. Like he posts on Twitter, like a calendar and everything, showing his days. He's one of the guys, like I was saying. I mean, business first. He is like the dude has everything to a T in terms of what he's doing, and I think he has a pretty good idea of where he wants to be. So I'll be interested to see how the whole Oni Studios thing plays out in the coming months.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I'm pretty I mean, this is pretty fascinating because he's basically he'll probably end up as like a trendsetter,
Yeah, he might.
you know?
Yeah, I think this could be something great. We'll just have to see.
Sheesh.
Oh, jeez. Anyway, so that was that. This was the next article. Actually comes from Esports Insider, and I know you found this one, Mike. So it's about Esports Engine announcing that they are the official broadcast partner of the COD League. For those that don't know, Esports Engine also ran the most recent Halo Infinite event in Raleigh, and it was a pretty good event, pretty solid production. So they announced they're also working on the Call of Duty stuff, which is exciting because I think overall they know what they're doing. So um, anyways, what are your thoughts on this, Mike?
I mean, it's pretty interesting. I think right off the bat, I know Esports Engine like was originally founded around the MLG period, not around the MLG period. So I think so. What I'm reading right now is that they're founded of the MLG through its acquisition. So MLG was acquired in 2016, and that is when Esports Engine was founded by former execs Adam and Ryan Thompson. So the main execs from Major League Gaming started Esports Engine. So these guys have been running tournaments since like 2003,
Yeah.
and they're well put together. The other thing is we talked about last week is Microsoft acquiring Activision Blizzard. Major League Gaming was underneath Activision Blizzard. So
Mhm.
through this Microsoft acquisition, I guess they decided to just go with Esports Engine because they already have that relationship pretty much solidified with Halo. For at least this season, their Esports Engine's running all Halo events.
Mhm.
And Face It, which was recently purchased for like $500 million. I can't remember who they're purchased by. Do you remember?
Um,
ESL? ESL, I think.
which one
Or
was
it
it
might have
again?
been ESL bought Face It. I'll look it up in a
Oh
second.
yeah, I
But
don't
it's
even.
pretty
Oh jeez.
fascinating to basically have one major league underneath it. You know, like
Mhm.
Esports Engine is their business model is essentially to work with the developers in their leagues. So like HCS, CDL now, is this is basically what their future is going to be. Is Esports Engine is going to be the guys that show up on site of the LAN event and then set up all the stations, and they'll have like employees there setting, operating, refereeing, um, probably even running some of the concessions and like different areas to basically make the place secure and run efficiently. Raleigh
Mm.
had some hiccups, but I think that's more to do with the game itself and less to do with the organizational skills of Esports Engine.
Mhm. Yeah,
So,
definitely.
yeah, I mean, this isn't a bad thing by any stretch of the imagination. I think there's going to be a lot of potential here.
Yeah. I mean, just the fact that the CEO and all the high execs, they just like you said, they've been around forever, so they know what they're doing. And I I saw I actually saw Adam because he I was on the VIP tour at HCS Raleigh where they took all the VIPs around and showed us I guess the production and everything, and Adam was leading the tour on that. And he's a very cool guy, and he was showing everything. They had some essentially like broadcast vans at the back of the venue behind some curtains that were like on the level of like the NFL in terms of being able to switch and the quality, and they
Oh yeah,
went all out for it, and it really showed in the production. I think overall it was really nice. So I can only
yeah.
imagine what they're gonna do for the COD League.
I'm excited to see the World Championship for Halo in Seattle. That's gonna be cool
Yeah.
because you
Oh
know they got
yeah.
to go all out.
Oh,
They
for
got to go all
sure.
out.
They have to. Yeah.
Like sell at the arena. We'll have some like like crazy setups like CS:GO has those
I
giant
know.
arenas sold out. It'd
Yeah.
be sick.
Computers. Oh, dude. It's always sick seeing that stuff. Like how the computers always laid out. I think maybe been like Valorant tourneys. Where I
Oh
know,
yeah.
especially in like around like, early 2021, I think, whenever they're doing some tourneys and seeing the actual seeing how the desks were set up, they had all the players spread apart, obviously, but it was like it's like you look and you just see a giant U with like 5 PCs perfectly symmetric lined up on
It's
the
so sick.
desk. It was really cool to see. Like everyone had space, and it's like you have like all this room to like play and stuff. Um, so who knows? They may do something like that for the worlds for Halo. I don't know. I'm definitely excited for that one. We'll see. But yeah,
No,
good
you bet.
stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff all around. Good on Esports Engine. Uh, moving on as we kind of close things out. I wanted to kind of double back on some articles from last week. We had some closures and just some updates. Firstly, Xbox CEO Phil Spencer went on and did an interview with Washington Post. This was the Thursday last week, so it was literally the day after we posted the episode. And a
Of
couple,
course.
yeah, as always, a couple more details came out that I thought were really interesting. In his interview, essentially, he talks of course, goes into detail about what the acquisition will entail and some of the stuff we already heard. But he also offered a couple other, I guess, little tidbits that I found interesting. At one point in the article, he talks about what he plans to do with some of the studios that are essentially supporting COD at this point, and that's really it. One is called Toys for Bob. It was a studio that works under Activision Blizzard. They successfully launched the game Crash Bandicoot 4, which I heard was really good. But after that, they later got folded into supporting the Call of Duty games. And I think overall, I just have a feeling that the studios probably that wasn't their first choice, but they just didn't have a choice. So
Oh yeah.
they're just like, yo, you're working on COD. We got to get this money, baby. So he goes on, Phil Spencer goes on to say that the Xbox team is going to try and talk with the developers and work with the studios to help flesh out a variety of different franchises that are in the Activision Blizzard vault. And again, this, like we discussed last week, all the different IPs they're going to have now. And it's really cool to see. It's, I guess, cool to see from a perspective of like, well, where like Phil Spencer's head's at with this. And it's very much like, we want these studios to work on, stuff they probably want to work on as opposed to just being a support studio. So, and that seems to be the route they're taking with that. He also posted a tweet as well on the 20th of January and said he had good calls with the leaders at Sony recently. They confirmed their intent to honor all existing agreements upon acquisition of Activision Blizzard and our desire to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. He said Sony is an important part of the industry and they value their relationship. Probably to no surprise to some, because Phil Spencer's just, the man's like a saint. And he
Yeah.
really wants, just I guess like a union of everything. There's no reason to keep too much exclusivity. But if they want it for COD, he's willing to oblige and really just kind of. I mean, like you said last week, they're winning, right? They don't really need to do too much more. I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts on all this, Mike?
I mean, Phil's saying all the things you want him to say if you're just a gaming fan.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, we just own it now. We want to make sure the studios do what they want and they make good games for the fans. He's like, if you notice, he's not really talking about the profit motive. It doesn't seem like he's writing and doing these interviews to make shareholders happy.
Yeah.
It seems like he's writing and doing these emails or doing these interviews strictly to make the fans like happy and pleased. Like he seems genuine about wanting to go back and play like Crash Bandicoot or like have those experiences that he had as a kid and let like other kids have those experiences.
Yeah, ultimately he wants to bring gaming, to a broader audience, certainly. And I mean, because I had listened to some I went back and listened to some of his older interviews he did on various different podcasts because there was a time, especially like mid last year, where he kind of just went on a whole string of different podcasts and talked about his love for video games and everything. And he did have one quote that really stuck out to me. He said, "Video games bring communities together. Storytelling can give you a unique perspective that you don't have with your own lived experience." And that really hit me because I think, especially for
Facts.
games for me, like the Life is Strange games, personally, I think
Oh,
those like
those
hit.
games are wild.
They are wild, man. But they really hit an emotion in me, and they really kind of they made me think like they made me step back and be like, whoa, like this is weird. Like
Oh
I
yeah.
certainly haven't experienced anything like this, but I can't imagine how many people are kind of living in their shoes, on a daily basis. And it really gives you perspective of like, how privileged I guess you could
Oh yeah.
be. Something like
I mean, it's all about
um
perspective, right? And it
yeah.
also helps people that are like, I mean, video gaming isn't as expensive as it used to be.
Yeah.
Um, Consoles are actually cheaper than they used to be. Like the N64, $100 in the 90s was a lot.
Yeah.
Like it was a lot of demand. The game prices has not changed really for like 10, 15 years. It's stuck at 60.
Um,
Some games now are free. And like now games launching multiplayer free are getting story modes that are like 25, $30
yeah.
like a week or two after it's actually been released. So because of that, people that maybe couldn't afford games can go do some of these stories and have like the opposite effect too, where it's just like the last or Life is Strange is like a crazy like adventure storytelling game that has a little bit of mystery and uh like psychological thriller to it, right? It's like a butterfly effect kind of movie.
Yeah.
And if you've never been into that world before, it's super fascinating, but it can have like the opposite effect with people that are like getting stories maybe they can never have like experienced before in their lives, you
Right.
know?
Yeah, and I think
And
that's always why I think lean towards single player games so much is because I'm just such a fan of a good story. And just
yeah.
seeing it's like I recently also got into like movies, like watching a lot more movies recently. Because I think before I would look at movies as kind of like a waste of time, but like when I really started like going back and watching some of that stuff and like taking in the story and really seeing that artwork and like how that movies are as like an art form,
Oh yeah.
I developed a really great appreciation for it. And now I'm like watching movies that, I just completely blow my mind, and I'd sit back and I'm like, why didn't I
It
why didn't I watch this sooner,
it changes your life
It
for
does.
better or for worse. It changes it. Some of those movies, some of those games will mess you up. I mean, we were literally talking a couple hours ago. I sent you guys a DM,
Yeah.
you and Nick about it's just a game in air quotes.
Yeah.
It's just a game. And that it's like all of these, it's like a 10-minute video, maybe less, I can't remember, but it doesn't matter. A 10-minute video of all the different cutscenes from all these different games and like the most dramatic events in the games.
Yeah.
Like that BF3, Battlefield 3
Mhm.
sequence.
Yeah.
And I love it how
Yep.
you like immediately was just
Oh,
like that messes you up.
yeah, dude, that when it hit me, like, that scene
Oh
when they're in
yeah.
the what is it, upside down Jeep or whatever in the
Yeah.
bottom of a lake, and it's like
Yeah.
they're 40, 50 feet from the surface, and, like but, like, they
Somebody's
know
trapped.
yeah, somebody's
And
trapped, won't be able to make it out, but he's just like, "Go without me," and it's kinda just like, this is literally at the start of the game. You're like,
yep.
"What?" Like, it just yeah.
Yeah. What do? You gotta shoot the glass.
Yeah. Yeah, you
Otherwise you die.
gotta make that decision. But, yeah,
I think one of the moments that stuck out to me, with gaming in particular, like one specific game, is that Modern Warfare 2 sequence where you go in the airport. Everybody knows it.
yeah,
I'm pretty
yeah,
sure even if you don't even play COD, you know what I'm talking about. Because your choice in the airport is irrelevant. The same thing happens at the end.
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And then you find out whether or not you're a good person inside.
Yeah.
That's really what it
Yeah.
is. It
Exactly.
messed some people up.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah, man. Video games are I think especially if you play the right single player game, it's just an interactive movie to a certain extent. Um
yeah,
and I don't know, it's just fun, man. Video games are I'm always gonna love video games, man. I think I speak for you as well. Like it's just a
yeah.
great art form. And
I feel sad for the people that only play the multiplayer when there's a good story.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly. Yep.
Like I get it. I get it. Hey man, the story's not very good, but man, this multiplayer is the best. Just like, dude, sometimes I hate the multiplayer, but the story is the best.
Yeah,
It's
for
like
real.
so much fun. A good example of both of those that are underrated is like a Transformers game that I played before, and you would think it was like a rip off of the movies. I think it was War for Cybertron, and there's a trilogy, and I had all three. Those games and multiplayer was the best because it was like the fall of Cybertron. Like I don't know
Mm,
if you know anything about like Transformers, but that like was amazing. And I
yeah,
didn't read any of the comics ever. I only watched the movies,
yeah.
and I watched the movies for the cars. So I was like, it was a really cool, interesting take, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
But
Anyway, man, this Phil Spencer, I think, is trying to strike that iron and really get some good stories
oh yeah,
back into the industry. So I am
yeah,
beyond excited for this and I'm particularly excited for what like 2023 to like 2025 is gonna bring, because I think that's gonna be where we really see like the
yeah.
fruits of the labor they're about to go under for this. So
I think 2025,
yeah,
where
it's gonna be the year.
Microsoft fully takes the helm and he basically says like, all right, guys, you don't have to be forced to make the cash cow happy, like World of
Yeah,
Warcraft, even yeah, World of Warcraft or COD or StarCraft. You don't have to do that. Just do what you want to do.
yeah,
Get back to the basics. Make some art. Make a good story.
yeah.
Like
Maybe
express
even
yourself.
yeah. I mean, maybe even some new IP. I mean, I think
Yeah,
it's always welcome, you know.
yeah.
So
I'm
um,
tired of playing the same games over and over again. I want variety.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Give
I
me
think this will bring that.
yeah.
Mm. Anyway, uh, great little follow up, I guess, from last week. This acquisition is, I think, always going to be a developing story, and until the day they close, it's probably going to be something new every other week at least.
Oh
So,
yeah.
so yeah, we will.
Everybody's talking about the acquisition for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's the biggest transaction that's happened in the gaming industry. I mean, maybe even a broader,
Ever.
yeah, maybe even ever. Like, it's unbelievably huge. 68 billion. I like still like it's insane to me.
But yeah, that's nuts.
It's unreal, man. Um, one more little follow up from last week. Valve. This is actually today. This was earlier today. At the time of recording this, Valve announced that the Steam Deck is going to be for sale starting February 25th. So, it is the 26th of January as we record this. So,
Yeah.
a little under a month.
Month.
Yeah. The way they're doing it, they even announced this on the blog. It's a reservation, I guess, like system they're using. So on February 25th, you should people who registered will receive an email, and then I think within 3 days they can fulfill the order, and then once the order is ready, it'll start to ship out. I think it says here it starts shipping, yeah, shipping out the 28th. So pretty quickly after, if you get in one of the first reservations. Um, it seems now though, they mentioned in this article as well, um, they're letting you reserve a Steam Deck for $5 on the site, but you could be waiting a while because the order page currently says that you can expect the order to arrive after Q2 2022 if you order now. So no surprise there.
Yeah.
They did also mention though that they are their goal is to release a new batch every week, I think. How big those batches will be on a weekly basis, who knows? But I don't know. What do you think? What do you think, Mike?
Yeah. I would I mean, as a consumer, I'm gonna wait to watch the reviews first, so it doesn't really concern me. But for like people that are really excited about this, I think I think some people would just rather wait until they have like a big stock pile, you know?
Yeah,
That way they don't have to reserve it. But I guess it's a good idea to announce it beforehand so that people know what to expect when they try to hit that purchase button.
right. Yeah. Um, we'll certainly see how it goes. I'm interested to see the reviews too. If you missed it last week, we discussed the Stream Deck pretty much in full from what we know so far, from spec list to pricing. So all those details were in last week's show. Make sure you catch that if you missed it. But yeah, February 25th, it's coming out. It's pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah,
Excited to see it in action,
I'm
especially
definitely
with a wider variety of games. Because I think last week it was like,
exactly.
well, the last week was like what 3 games I had FPS counts for or something.
Yeah, like 3 or 4, and there were really high-end games,
Yeah,
which I don't think people are gonna be wanting to play high-end games on essentially a handheld.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I don't know, maybe not.
what's the frame
Um,
rate on Minecraft? You know?
yeah, right. Um, I guess one more little story I'll just add in here. That I saw today. Halo news, Halo update, ding ding ding. I don't know if we'll probably won't do something every week on Halo, but they did announce today that if you happen to be playing competitive Halo by chance,
Yeah,
listening to the show, you may have heard that Behemoth CTF has been removed from the rotation finally
it's gone.
after what, a month of us asking, because it's been certainly a month since Raleigh, and I
Oh,
know
yeah, there's a lot of things everybody's been asking for,
to say
since
the
launch.
least. To say the least, they finally responded to that. So hey, better late than never, I guess. I'm not gonna dog on them too much. Um, but
It's not
certainly,
necessarily gone forever, though. Behemoth, CTF, they were saying
mhm,
that they're going to revisit the map and game type and, take it out for now and maybe bring it back.
yeah.
So,
I know it's
it is what
available.
it is.
Yeah, I know it's available in other modes still. I believe they said, but yeah, they were revisiting that map. So I don't know what they're about to do with it, but at least it's out for now, and that's what the community wanted. So
Yeah.
they're listening. Um, anyways, I mean, unless you had anything last minute to cover, Mike, I think that was it for me this week.
I think we pretty much covered everything. I think for next week, we have, the Halo trailer for the actual TV series to talk
Yeah.
about. Um, and we should have a good list of the games that are gonna be coming out for February.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because
So,
next week is the start of the month. So it is
yes, it is.
yeah, so we'll be listing
Yes.
out the games. Next Friday, I mean, just to get one announcement out there, I think next Friday is gonna be the new Dying Light game, Dying Light 2. I think that comes out next Friday. It's the 4th, I believe. So right at the start of the month. That'll be a brand new game.
Perfect. Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, Dying Light had a lot of hype behind it.
Yeah, definitely. And I
Yeah.
think the second one has certainly been delayed. I think it was originally supposed to come out spring of 21. Then it got delayed to like October and then
Yikes.
December and now February. But it's finally coming out. So,
Allegedly. That's a
allegedly.
lot of consoles to come out on, though.
Dude,
Here's the
yeah.
crazy thing. I
I
guess we're gonna be
mean,
seeing the Steam, I almost said this the Stream Deck, um, the Steam tablet
yeah, it's
on one of
Thymia.
those lists as well.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. There was a I saw a pretty interesting tweet they actually put out for this. I maybe can find it. If I can't find it soon, I'll just leave it be. But it essentially broke down the number of hours this game was going to be, in terms of completion, how long it was gonna take. And it was some ridiculous number. It was like in the
That's
hundreds or
crazy.
something. I don't even remember. Let's see. Come on, I know I can find it.
Hopefully, it's not repetitive, though.
Oh, here it is. Here it is. So yeah, so they released this. So Dying Light 2
20
Stay Human.
hours?
20 hours time needed to complete the main story. 80 hours would be needed to finish the main story and all the side quests, and then 500 hours to, I guess, complete everything. To have a
Ah,
hundred
man.
percent completion, checking every place on the map, every dialogue, finding every collectible, everything. It's a big game.
There's so many games coming out that I need to play.
It's
It takes so much
yeah.
time.
I mean, this thing too. What's really cool, they announced too recently. I saw. I mean, this game, of course, is co-op, so I think it's 4-player co-op.
Okay.
And I think the epilogue, the prologue, and the epilogue, I think they're incorporating. I don't know. I think the epilogue isn't going to be involved in co-op because the way the first one worked is you'd have to play like the first hour epilogue solo, and then after that you can invite friends. And I
Oh,
think they're
okay.
doing something similar for this. However, the for the prologue they're doing something similar, and then for the ending of the game, it's going to have, I guess, co-op paths, so you can actually play all the way through with friends after the opening part.
That's good. I think we've been missing that in a lot of games.
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
haven't really seen that in a long time.
yeah. I mean, it made me kind of think of Halo and Halo Infinite and how they're going to do that campaign co-op. And I think especially for the opening sequence, I couldn't see how they would do it. So it'd probably be something similar of like you get through the first part, and then once you get to the open world part, it's probably going to be co-op.
Yeah.
We'll wait and see. I think that's probably the way to do it for most of these kind of more open world games anyway. But the first Dying Light was a lot of fun, and I still haven't completed it, so I may try and get some friends here soon and go back and finish that before 2, because I really do want to play 2. I don't know. I may wait and see if I can get a group of people to run 2 with before I actually play it.
Yeah, I might get in there. I mean, that sounded like an invitation, so I'll just assume.
You are more than welcome, Mike. All right, listen, we'll get that time in. All right, I think that was finally it. I don't think I got anything else.
Yeah, I think we covered this week's episode 3 of the M2 podcast. I'm your host, Mad Mike. You can find me on any social media under the handle MadMikeWillEatU, and Kyle is the other co-host. Where can they find you?
You can find me anywhere, either KyleHeath, Mr. JK Heath. Pretty much Mr. JK is the best way. So yeah.
And all links should be in the description. So every platform that you could possibly think of, including YouTube. So video formats on YouTube, M2 podcast. And that pretty much wraps it up.
That does it. Bye, everyone.
All right.
Thanks for watching.
Signing off.